Welcome back to Where Do We Go From Here? I'm your host, Kimon Kotos, and I'm joined again by the Director of Public Safety here in the City of Muskegon, Chief Tony Kleibecker. And Chief Kleibecker, we've been exploring some of the ways that the community can get involved and some of the demands and challenges for the department. Can we talk about another issue that comes up a lot at City Commission meetings, and I think is some of the concerns that people have about the city overall, and that's, we're losing our housing stock. We have people having to leave for economic reasons, but you have to come before and say, hey, we need responsible owners to take responsibility for their property so that we don't have to tear down another house and have not just blight, but have abandoned property where crime can be committed and other risks can happen. Yeah.
In our estimation, in my estimation, nothing is more damaging than losing your housing stock. Abandoned properties, foreclosures that are just left to go quickly damage a neighborhood and I think draw a bad element into a neighborhood. So we've worked as hard as we can, a number of departments in the city, to work on our housing stock issue, whether it's working with landlords, tearing down abandoned, nasty homes. We're pretty aggressive with that. Again, money now is an issue. That's slowed us a little bit. But from a fire safety perspective, the inspections process is both what our rental inspectors do, our building officials, and our fire marshal does, has a huge impact on the number of fires and fire-related injuries and deaths in the city. So it really does tie in to the overall safety of our residents. And again, I think the downfall of some neighborhoods when those properties are left to go. So as best we can, there are a number of departments. We've got Community Neighborhood Services as an example, who work really hard at rehabbing new homes and selling them, taking those houses and selling them to a family with some assistance. So that the cost is not hard, but then we have home ownership versus rental properties. And that's huge. That's huge. We have some great landlords. They take really good care of their property. We've got a small bubble of landlords that don't care. They buy up a ton of properties and they let them go. And that's damning for our community. So any number of departments across the city, we work together on the blight neighborhood and influences, specifically in the housing situation. And that is a part of what the police department needs to be involved in. Certainly the fire department and the inspections department. That touches all three of our departments. And that's huge towards the, I think, sustainability and livability of a neighborhood.
Well, that's really important. And, one of the things I'm curious about are there still opportunities we may not have fully explored in terms of developing a workforce that can be mobilized from those who are unemployed and are either renters or people who are in need of housing so that they can become eventually owners and also develop the skills for helping to rehab these homes rather than let them go into neglect?
Well, again, I think our Community Neighborhood Services Department does a good job with that. They work with families who are ready to take that step. They work with finding the financial assistance that they need. And one of the neatest things is when we're at commission meetings is to see a family step up who's going to buy a home that CNS has worked with, Community Neighborhood Services has worked with, to take that home ownership, because I just think that's a huge anchor in a neighborhood, is to have that home ownership, people who care about that house and care about that property. It drives a lot of the bad things away. It's fairly simple. It's not that difficult. It really does. Home ownership and owner-occupied properties really sustain our neighborhoods. And I know it's something that we as a city, certainly the mayor and our commissioners, work towards annually.
Well, I grew up in Flint and lived in California for a while, but I see cities like Flint and Muskegon, even though they've at times hit the bottom or had gone through some really tough times here, that especially West Michigan, we're really positioned to have a great future ahead of us. And so part of my concern is, what can we do together? How can we inform the public that they need to be engaged in making this city a success? Because we're looking not only for our kids, but also for the established residents who've been here, who are wondering, is there any cohesion? Is there a community still together, or are we all just fighting for ourselves?
Well, and I have this conversation with stakeholders, with individuals, with church groups, whomever. It's, look, you can't fight for yourself. If you fight solely for yourself, then we're not going to make it. Right. Don't latch on to the negative. There are tough times. We go through tough times. There are tremendous people in this community. It's really the reason that I accepted the chief's position here, is that when I met people, it was the people I met. I thought there's some pretty terrific people here. Yeah, as an urban area, we've got challenges. If you're going to give up, then we have no chance. if you're going to stand and fight and be a part of it, then I think we can be very viable. And as the economy turns around, whatever speed that takes, as you said, I think we're positioned to be in the forefront. This region, us included, are in a good position to have very stable, very productive times ahead. And I believe that. I believe that.
Well, Chief, I really appreciate your leadership and your willingness to serve this community, and I think it's really important that the community recognize this and be thankful and appreciative of the officers that are serving, because they're making a commitment.
Well, on their behalf, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. Thanks.
And I appreciate you joining us on Channel 97, and stay with us and feel free to comment. And also join us on DSE-TV Muskegon on YouTube, as well as dseTV.com.